Hello, hi God. Okay, I need your help with this one. I know. I need to do better next time, right? Anyway, leo niko na mob ya kukushow. Welcome to Life Reframe Podcast episode 5. Yo, I think I must say this again. I can't believe that we're here again for episode 5. And I feel like I might end up saying this statement up to episode 100 because it's always a blessing to see yourself consistent and also see that your content is making sense for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 kind of people out there. And guys, thank you for the 200 subscribers. Acha niwaambie, nashukuru sana. It shows all the love, the support, and that exactly what I'm doing here is beneficial to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people. Anyway, before we delve into whatever topic I want us to talk about today, I want to say thank you and karibuni sana to any new subscriber, any new follower, dozens from TikTok, Instagram, and also YouTube. Asanteni sana. I've seen a few of my friends also share it out. I am so grateful. Asanteni. You know, and also for my returning subscriber, poleni manze, nilikuwa kidogo nimewasahau. Asanteni for supporting your girl, and let's grow this channel to have a positive space where we can air our views without fear of judgment or fear of discrimination, okay? So today I wanted us to speak about like pain of hiding your true self. And I feel like this is a pain that we go through every single day. Like at some point in our lives, we are forced to act or be people who we are not. And there's a lot of pain in you not being your true self. And I don't even know where to start with this because I feel like it's like the core issue to all our life problems, you know? We are not content with ourselves. We don't accept ourselves. We want to be accepted for this wholeness that we have in our mind, but the reality is very different. You know, we don't want to accept those bad parts of ourselves. And it gets us to a point where we have so much baggage, we don't even know our real selves. I feel like one of the most important questions that's normally asked in an interview is, tell us about yourself. You know, that is one of the hardest questions you can ever answer because who are you? And I'd love you to ask yourself as we're going on with this conversation, because who are we? You know, we want to associate ourselves with the jobs that we do, to different status that we have in life, positions that we hold. That's what we really associate ourselves with. We want to say that I am a mom, I am a sister, I am a brother, I am a psychologist, I am a doctor, I am a lawyer. We are only able to associate ourselves with like our professions better than us being able to express ourselves as who we are. And it's a very hard question because who do you say you are? You know, you can only best explain yourself by also seeing how the world views you as well. And that's why when the world views us and is able to mirror a vice in ourselves or something negative from within ourselves, we start getting angry because we don't want to accept that that bad side can also be a part of you. We want to be, kuna vile tu tunatakanga kujiona, and we want to imagine that that can happen without necessarily having the negative of the bad sides of ourselves. But unfortunately, we can never be our true selves if we don't get rid of some of the baggages that we are carrying. One thing I've realized is we love to repress the bad or the negative sides of our personalities. And those are the shadows, you know, the darker side of you is your shadow. You're always trying to run away from your shadow. You're always trying to act like you're not your shadow. And unfortunately, you and your shadow can never be separated. Like even in real life, hakuna vile utatembea kwa mwangaza and you expect no shadow. And that for me, when I think about it, it's such a complex way to look at it because we imagine as long as you want to walk in the light, and in the light is in your truth, is in what you believe, in your values, in your groundedness. as long as you want to walk on that path, you also have to accept the shadow that follows you. There is no way you will walk in light. There is nothing in this universe that will be in light and lack a shadow. You see, if you want to not have a shadow to follow, then you have to stay in the darkness, because it's only there where you can't see your shadow. But as long as you want to, put yourself out there and people to see your light, for you to be able to embrace your true self, and the true self is light. And when I think about it even deeper, I think of God, and every one of us has come from God, who other people want to say the source, but for me it's my God. Like, I come from him. I am a piece of him. You're a piece of him. Everyone is a piece of him. And unless we can agree and accept ourselves enough to be able to walk out into that light and be our true selves, just like he shines, how God shines and akunanga shadow on him, it's because he is in his most purest form, and none of us will be able to be as he is, unfortunately. So every time we are trying to be someone else and not as pure and true as we should be, we end up just creating a bigger shadow and a bigger shadow. And sometimes shadows can feel like monsters. That's why even when we were kids, ukitembea and you see something like a shadow, it just scares you, because we don't want something that looks bigger than us and it's dark and it's moving on itself. It doesn't have a body. That's what we don't want to feel, even when we are accepting those negative traits about ourselves. But I feel like today, it's the day we should just sit back and reflect and be like, okay, I am very good at all these things, but then I also have flaws that I can work on. I don't necessarily have to be the best at everything. Let me give, for example, I love to cook and I know my food is really good, but I can choose to be stuck up on the fact that I am the best cook and no one else everywhere can cook any food that's better than mine, and choose to live in that fantasy of thinking I'm the best. And there is a time maybe I can be invited for, let's say, a chef's competition. And if I went there and I was meeting with other world best chefs, then I'd start to either feel intimidated, and I could choose to still live in my illusion of I am the best chef by not going to that competition, and assume that I am really good, I'm better than any of them, I don't need to prove myself, right? And then just stick in my fantasy to believe that I am the only best chef. And in reality, I should have gone and be able to get a ranking of how good I am, so that I'm able to strengthen my weaknesses, so that my strengths can be sharpened and become even better skills, But if we choose to not want to be vulnerable, or to be seen like we are not capable at some point in time, because we want to live in the fantasies that we have created in our minds that we are, then it will get to a point where we are all living fake lives. And that's why it's almost impossible to convince some people that people out here are living more or less the same lives as everyone else is. Everyone is facing the difficulties, everyone is paying the taxes, everyone is going through just all this mess of feeling like life is not going the direction that you expect it to go. Either the rich or the poor, everyone is feeling the same kind of pain. But then we've not accepted ourselves in the stages that we are in, such that we end up feeling like there are people who are living it larger and better. So you find like there's this person who is probably looking like they're living lavish, but they are probably given those things to just showcase and show how they can be used as ads, and that's how they are making their money. As maybe, do I call them marketing influencers? But yeah, I'd call them that. And that's how they can only make money by portraying how good that thing is. And so that's where the problem comes in, where people are unable to distinguish what is business and what is reality. So they are fixated on people's lives progressing in ways that they wish it would have been them, and forgetting that they are probably not even, these people they are thinking about are not even living those kinds of lives. Unajua, mi nilikuja nimepatiwa products fulani ni push wewe umeniona ninavaanga nguo fulani every single time and you think, oh my god, where do I get all the money to be buying all these clothes? But I'm just paid to become a model to push for these products, and they keep saying it. Unfortunately, it's like we have made our fantasies so stronger. We have made it like we want to live in that bubble of fantasies, and reality is not coinciding with it. So every time you keep tricking your brain into something that is not its reality in real life, inashindwa, what are you trying to say? What's happening over here? Because you're making me feel like I am rich, but in reality is poverty. And nikikuja reality, akili yangu inashindwa kufunction like this can actually be the reality. So you want to bring that fantasy to real life. You have seen people who want to believe they are making it, and they will go to lengths and lengths to ensure that they are trying to sustain themselves in the positions that people have always seen them. We ought to be vulnerable. Not every time everything has to be nice. But then even when they try, those celebrities try, or the people who have called them celebrities, or maybe given them the stature of celebrity, when those people even themselves say that they are normal people who want to do normal lives, the people being told that are already so gone. Washabebwa. Yani, ni kama watch movie, ukubali mtu aliwa ule, na that's it. Na that is the narrative, that's the story. They don't want to believe that for a sure fact, this person could be going through the same problems that the others are going through. So you see, we have failed to even understand who we have come from, and unless we can agree to maybe live a life that is God-like, Christ-like. We don't have to be perfect. That's the good thing. You only need to agree and accept in yourself that, hey, by the way, I'm not perfect, but in my imperfections, I am still great. I'm still amazing. I can still do this. But we like to allow the devil to just come and tell us how terrible we are. Unapata self-esteem issues. You cannot wear a certain thing because, your stomach will show. Everyone has a stomach, It's just that there are different sizes. And when you start putting all these things in your mind and into perspective, that you love yourself and you would do anything for yourself to feel as confident as you think other people feel confident, so the superpower in you will start shining, pole pole, regain its power back. And that's why sometimes you find yourself like wondering, why is it that so-and-so managed to do this other than the other person? It's the light inside you that shines, and it shines brighter than how your outwards may look. It is whatever is inside you that actually comes off to the world, so that people are able to judge and say, you are a lively person, you deserve the world, you need this, you should be experiencing this and that. And it's only allowing that inner light to shine in yourself. But how do we become true selves if all our lives we've been made to pretend like things are supposed to be okay even when they're not okay? We have not been taught that not being okay is still okay. It's mostly been more of, you have to show them that we are okay. We have to do that. So I do that in my household. You do that in your household. Someone else does that. And all of us coming together, we're just people masking to be people they are not, instead of being able to have a community, a world where we can all be vulnerable and without judgment or fear of discrimination. Shidani, you go out there, you want to be your true self. This is who you are. This is what you do. This is how you live. But then you're either too loud, or you're too talkative, or you're too silent, you're too outgoing, and there are all these opinions from people that maybe make our real selves just, withdraw and crawl back into the shell. And you're thinking, hey, I'll not be myself when I'm with so and so and so. I'll not do this when I'm with so and so that they can like me for the person I am hoping they think I should be, And it has put us in very bad situations. If I'd say like, even in previous relationships, if we look up into our early 20s, you find that you are either with people who you felt like, I just wanted to belong. I just want to feel like I have a group of people who I can relate with. And I also don't want to feel alone. I want to be with a boyfriend, at least just like the rest of my friends. Or I am, there's a need that you lacked in your childhood that is now coming out and you need to fulfill it. And you end up fulfilling it with the wrong people, even though you know that's it. But because you're so naive, you find yourself not really living to your true selves, and you got yourself into relationships that are not quite the best, and you want to start feeling bad right now when you are so grown, instead of working for your true self after you've realized you've made some mistakes in life. Instead of sitting there and crying and feeling sorry for yourself, it's just waking up and realizing that time is still moving and you have more time to create still more beautiful memories. And you need to accept that that part of yourself is not a broken past. You just had to learn some lessons according to the choices that you made. And so it's up to you to not make the same choices again right now that you're grown up, and make better choices that are going to resonate with the kind of life you want to be. The good thing is, when we are born on a clean slate, like pure white without blemish. That's how our lives are like. We are placed on this world with our lives like that. But then society, environment, our personal beliefs end up creating different stories, and at some point in time your script is written by someone else, and that's your parents or your guardian or your guardian or the community that is raising you up, until it gets to a point where I feel like 18 is where you're given the pen and you're told, niaje, shika kalamu, now start writing your own story. And so you find there are people who are given their pens earlier. There's someone who has been given their pen at the age of 6, at the age of 3, at the age of 10. And but legally or normally, we are expecting to be given the pen at 18, where even the government considers you as a grown-up. But then there are all these things that have influenced your life, that have affected you being your true self. You do not want to be this kind of person because your mom is going to do this. You do not want to do this particular course because your mom wants a lawyer and a doctor. So you have to follow what you feel that will make them happy. And you find like the earlier stages of our 20s, we are focused in making people happy in our relationships, to our parents, to our relatives, to everyone in the society, to church. You just want to be seen as this good person, trying to prove that you are doing your best to be a morally upright person. So we've consumed so many belief systems, and at some point you don't know what is the true self. Who are you? What do you like? There are people, even if you asked, and that's why we're even again in failed and wrong relationships, because we don't even know who we are. We don't know what we like. We've only liked a certain thing because that's what our parents used to buy from kitambo. Mi nimezoea kufanya hiyo. Mi nimezoea kwenda hii church. Mi nimezoea, And there are other things that you've liked because your spouse, your partner, your boyfriend has liked it, not because you personally actually really wanted. So if you sat down right now and had to write a list of the things that you would want to do yourself, like what are the things that you like? What are tastes that you like? What are the things you'd like to buy? What is the kind of dream home you'd like? What is the kind of behavior you'd like to portray? What is the kind of lifestyle you'd like? And when you're able to write down those things, then you'll be able to be in a better position to see why you can't be your true self. Because to be honest, most times we convince ourselves on the ideas that we can be whatever we want to be, but the reality we live in is less pleasurable, and that for us is uncomfortable. We want to imagine to become a doctor and imagine that imagination in reality can happen at that time. So first of all, we ought to accept ourselves and our realities. We need to accept those parts of ourselves that are not so great in our lives so that we can be whole. Because if we reject our shadows or pick and choose parts of ourselves, of our past personalities, our past behaviors that we like, and then we repress those parts of ourselves that we fear to be seen as, we end up living in a lot of regret. A good scenario is when you see people living beyond their means. Like mtu anajua vizuri you can't afford a certain lifestyle, but you just want to push over there so that you have the latest iPhone, you have the latest this, you have the latest that. And generally speaking and genuinely speaking, you could not afford to be there. So you're not living your true self. And you'll find that over time, all these things that people get to do so that they can feel like they belong, like they are wanted, like they are part of a family or this, squad ya watu wenye wameweza, wenye wana make it. And even they are not there, most of the times are the most unhappy people. Because all this chasing of success is an illusion, because you're chasing something that you want it to make you feel some level of contentment or peace or gratitude or fulfillment, that even when you get whatever you want, you'll still not be happy. You'll still be chasing for more. And that's why you find that you being your true self, all these things that you want will come to you. You don't have to be the one looking for it. But if you're the one chasing this success, you're chasing, but you're not applying the values, the discipline that it requires you to have so that you're able to achieve all these things that you want, so that you can feel that your true self is fulfilled, then you're having it all wrong. Watu wana live beyond their means just because hawataki kujulikana that they are struggling, they are going through this and that, but they just want to have all these praises of, they are making it. My boyfriend just bought me this, my girlfriend did this for my birthday. In the long run, it doesn't help anyone, to be quite honest. In any case, you as the person who is trying to portray this self that is not true, or so that you can give people pressure, so that waone hata wewe unaendelea, so that waweze kukurank that uko somewhere in society, you're the only person who ends up unhappy. You end up unhappy because you have been achieving things for the wrong reasons. You're not doing it because it is your true self, and you're passionate to doing the things that you're doing. You're only doing them because you want to have sifa, upate tu sifa kutoka kwa watu wengine, and that is a very wrong approach, which hinders your true self from coming out, because you're only living a lie that is there to give you the instant gratification or the instant feeling of I have made it. And that's why you find that you wanted, maybe right now you're in your 30s and you're feeling like maybe your 20s were so boring, you didn't go out as much, and not out in terms of drinking, going out to meet people, to mingle, to do adventure, to find yourself, to identify the kind of person you are. And now you're in your 30s, and that's when you're realizing, oh my God, I don't know anything about myself. I don't know what my hobbies are. I don't know what my interests are. It's like I have been living a life of just following what other people are doing. And that can also resonate to the people who used to do adventure. Maybe you used to go out on those road trips just because people are going. You have nothing to really recollect and be like, oh my gosh, this is what I achieved. I got to experience and knew about myself in this period of my life. So you find that over time, if you continue like that, you're at 50 and you just still feel like you don't know yourself. Like, who am I really? And not being able to answer that question earlier than later just makes you continue making all the wrong choices, because you'll be living in not your authentic self. And me, I'd ask you a question. Would you rather fail in actuality or succeed in the mere fantasies or hypotheticals? I'd like you to ask yourself that question, because I would rather I failed in my reality than lived in these fantasies of the things I could be, I'd want to be, yet I'm afraid to reveal my true self and work together with my shadow to help me know that these are the things that I'm not really good at. These are my failures. These are my vices. And I can work with those things that I know that are not good to create something good out of it. I would also want to just emphasize that for you to know your whole true self, you just have to figure it out from who created you or who you come from. I know majority will agree with me that it's been said over and over again, you want to know how to live this world, then you have to read the Bible. That is the book for your life. That is what should nourish your life. That is what should be able to tell you, because all these feelings of not wanting to be our true selves because of how we feel people will think about us or how they might say about us, are things that we are taught on how to handle or deal with them in the Bible. All these things have gotten psychological because now people are getting to the science of it, of trying to help you understand what are the traits or the behaviors or the actions that you're doing that are getting you to being in a certain state. You're so anxious, you're so depressed, you're so having panic attacks and all these things. And it's simply because you are not able to understand yourself too well. You allowed too much pressure to get to you, even that which was not supposed to be yours. You want to be out there living a life that is not your true self. It's okay to not be okay. Unfortunately, majority have been told that it's okay. You have to be okay. You have to show up. You have to be there. If you're not okay, then you're doing something wrong. And it's never necessarily the case. So people are living under pressure, trying to prove themselves, copying the celebrities or the so-called celebrities, the influencers. You're seeing people living large and you want to imagine that that's exactly what you want to do. Yet you have no idea of what they are doing behind their backs. And even when they're doing that, they're probably not doing it in their true selves. Like, if their true selves were to be asked, are you happy to be doing this and this? They'd probably say no. But we have not been taught to be true to ourselves. We have mostly been taught that hapana, msionyesha kina nani ati kuko hivi, tukienda huko mkae mko sawa, mkiulizwa mseme hivi na hivi na hivi. So it's something generational, hereditary. We are being taught to be other people and not the people that we actually are. And it's because if you are vulnerable again to people, they start using that against you. It's a lot to just uncover on how to be able to be true to ourselves. But then I feel like it's a very positive and pure and beautiful journey to be able to understand who you are. Because when you're able to understand who you are, you'll be able to only allow that which you want. If you can't stand a certain person, stop dating them. As in, mbona una date msi mwenye unajua upendi hivyo? Unasema mi nataka demo wa church, and then umemeet na demo anapenda ku club, and you're still dating them, and now you wife them, hoping and praying that these people will change. That's their true self. They want to do that. They are choosing that path. You want someone who is doing the exact same things you want to do, go get that person who is doing the exact same things. And for a chick, if you want a dude who cooks for you and maybe can treat you nice once in a while, stop going for someone who is not able to cook for you or who doesn't like to cook. Because there is no way you're changing another human being to being someone who they are not being if themselves they don't want to be that, And don't say that they over time they will start cooking. They might just not cook at the end of the day. And you can't start feeling bad that they're not cooking for you because they already showed you who they are. That's their true self. Mimi sipendi kupika. I like my woman to cook for me. Mimi kazi yangu nitatafutanga tu, kazi yangu ni kulipa bills. Believe that. If a chick says she likes to go out once in a while for dates and still go out on girl trips and still go out on brunches, stop thinking that that's a myth at a change, and maybe she won't be going out for those things when you're together. She will still want to go to those things because that's her true self. If a chick likes to go hanging out in parties and everything, stop thinking the fact that you're dating her, she's going to stop. She will stop because she wants to stop. The same way as a dude, the fact that he likes to go playing PS and maybe after work he has to go take a beer before coming home. Don't think you getting to marry him or getting married by him that you will stop his behavior of having to pop into the bar before getting home. So don't get angry the fact that he's not getting home on time because he already showed you his true self. And unfortunately, we want to blind ourselves because we are also not true to ourselves. If your deal breaker is you do not want a guy who drinks and then you date someone who drinks, that's on you because you made a choice on someone who you clearly saw that these are the things that they're doing, but you still went ahead to push it, And you can't start feeling bad that this person drinks or you want to change them because you already found them doing that. And so you have to be very true to yourself and be like, oh my God, this person is amazing. His vibes are 1,000,000% amazing. I'm loving it. I'm enjoying everything. But then they're not exactly what I want and it's okay. I don't have to be with them. But you going ahead and being with this person, and then later on in the relationship feeling that this thing is annoying you, you were the one who started not being true to themselves. They were true to themselves and they went on with whatever they felt that was good for them, you know? So you have to be true to yourself so that the decisions that you make are also true by you. If you know that you're as a dude, you want a woman who will just be cleaning, cooking, anakaa tu kwa nyumba, anafanya usafi, ukifika unaoshwa miguu, unafanya, please stop going for a babe who is in corporate, because you're all gonna conflict. You're not being true to yourself. Unajidanganya ati, oh my god, sasa hii nyashi yote venye anakaa fiti, anakuanga na roho poa, her finances are on check, and then you think because all those other things are pluses, and then everything else will be okay. There's a saying that I heard that one bad egg and one good egg cannot make a good omelette. And I feel like that's the situation. You're taking all these good things and the one thing that you don't like about it, and you think that this relationship will still go on well. You have to take up compromises that do not affect any part of your growth or your well-being, you know? And that's the only way to be true to yourself. But you have to be true to yourself by the fact that you have sat down and really known even who you are. You cannot be true to yourself if you don't know who you are, if you don't know where you're coming from, where you're going, what are your goals, what are your future plans, what's your purpose. If you can't uncover those kinds of questions about yourself, then you'll never be your true self. Utaishi tu kufanya vitu because watu wanafanya. Watu wakienda pale, umeenda huko. Watu wakijenga pale, umejenga huko. And before you know it, you just lived a life of mrando because you were just doing whatever any other person is saying, you know? You're married into a family that they like to do things that you can't do. Why are you doing them? Just be true to yourself, you know? Kama wewe hutaki kufanya kitu fulani, don't do it. Not because you're being rude, but because you're being true to yourself. Do it if you want to do it. Because then at that point, you're doing it from a true point of yourself. But then if you're doing things because you hey, watasema nini? Wataona we ni mzembe, aufanyangi hii, umeenda umefanya shopping ya 30k as a dude, sijui umefanya nini, and you're broke. Maybe you're just trying to please the family of the girl. You as the girl, umeenda uko kwa in-law, umeosha vyombo, umeosha di ceiling, umeosha di nyasi, and you're over there thinking and hoping that you will be accepted. All these feelings of why we were not true to ourselves is because it was all in the past. We wanted to belong, we wanted to be accepted, we wanted to be viewed in a certain way by society, and right now we are grown, yo. Tunafaa kukuwa tukifikiria vile vitu tunazifanya because we want to do them and because we have a stand and because hakuna mtu atatuchapa. Hiyo ndio kitu tunasahau. When we were kids, you'd have to lie, you want to be a certain person, umekula askari hapana, so that your mom can see you're a good person, umejaa askari kwa mdomo. Ulikuwa unachapwa when you do something wrong. You used to get a punishment even in high school and primary. But right now you're in the free world. No one is punishing you for saying no. No one is punishing you for declining going out. No one is punishing you for cancelling that girl's trip because you can't afford it. No one is punishing you because you can't go nyama choma with the boys somewhere because wanatoa sijui maelfu ngapi. No one is punishing you. Ebu live your life. Live your truest self. If you want to be able to do that, you also have to know yourself. You have to know your stance. Any no, any yes, this one I agree, this I disagree, this I want, this I don't want, and be okay in the choice that you end up making in the long run. Otherwise, you'll be out here people pleasing people who don't even deserve your people pleasing, and you'll end up being miserable because you're feeling like nimekuwa make choices out of other people. And that's why you find people who are older than I am, maybe in their 50s, in their 60s, who are still very bitter, very angry because they made choices because of other people. You've gotten pregnant because your mom is asking for a grandchild. You have gotten married just because your mother, your father is on your neck. And you're marrying this chick only, and you clearly know adikwa roho yako unajua udemzi. But you may go ahead. You can't start blaming your parents. You have to face the consequences of your actions. And you as a chick, you will face the consequences of your actions. We all want to do the right choices, and we can only make the right choices, again, as I repeat, unless we've known ourselves. Without us identifying ourselves, we can't ever understand who we are, or know who we are, or why we are the way we are. And that way we'll always be living out of the masses of people, you know. And this, I wish I was like instilled ile kabisa, ile like the way mathematics was instilled. I wish it was instilled the same way when we were younger, because we would have to live lives the way we want to do it. We would be making decisions not out of naivety or the feeling of wanting to be accepted, to be loved, to be cared for, but more because we want those things to happen to us. But then now that some things have happened and we don't live in regret, and as we've said, we only grow and learn from our past experiences, mistakes, and lessons, then we have to be better people right now. We can't be doing the same things over and over again, a decade after another. We have to be better people. And I hope you really, really did enjoy. I hope mmepiga introspection hapo hivyo and have just thought about your life, like, nini am I doing better? What am I doing different? How can I just be a better person? And that's why I said this channel will only and mostly be for well-being. I know there are people who are going through a hard time in understanding themselves and who don't even know how to uncover themselves, or have gone through such bad previous traumas that have affected them for a very long time, and they don't know who to even speak to. As I said in my previous video, that if you need someone to talk to privately, confidentially, I am here for you guys, and I would love to have these deep conversations with, because there are things that are so ingrained in our hearts and we don't know who else to talk to. We have our friends, but we don't really know whether to trust some of them. But if you're able to get to a point of accepting the person you are, and you want to have this conversation so that we can make ourselves to become a better person, I am the friend that you would need. And I look forward to hearing from y'all, and it will be as private and confidential as possible. So thank you so much, guys, for lending me your ears. It's always a pleasure to just speak about these things out loud, because hata mimi kidogo, I'm always schooling myself again and again. We want to be better people, we want to be more productive people, and we want to live in our truest form. Let's not listen or be shaken by any people wanting us to live a life that we are not, or live a standard of life that we do not please, or make us make choices that are not of our truest form because we were unable to stand our ground and say no, and say wait, and say not now or not today. Let's be able to stand our ground for the things that we value, we hold close, and that way we will be getting a step every day closer to being our truest form. Thank you all so much for listening. I cannot wait to see you in the next episode. But until then, may we find favor